Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, may the peace of Allah be upon all of you. Welcome to part 2 of answering the video that was created by Converted to Islam YouTube channel, Why I Left Islam. Last video we covered many points. We spoke about the topic of morality. We spoke about the fact that the truth will always be the truth and that will never change, and that we cannot use our own human perceptions to really measure the truth by our own point of view of what is right and wrong, because that's a relative statement. Now today what I want to do is I want to devote something towards the what Ismail himself has spoken about. He spoke about a battle called the battle or an event of Awtas, which was a battle that took place between the Muslims and the pagans at the time after the conquest of Mecca. And before I start, I gotta do the academic trust for you and show you the books that I've used. Number 1, we have a book here called The Sealed Nectar. The Sealed Nectar. This is a book that every Muslim, most Muslims, if not all, have in their library. Al-Rahiq al-Makhtoum, it's called in Arabic. And this is authored by Saif al-Rahman al-Mubarak Puri. Reliable source, is being used at the university level to study the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, story. That's the first book I used. The next book I want to point out to you is one called Fiqh al-Sirah by Sheikh Muhammad al-Ghazali. And what this book is actually the understanding of the Prophet Muhammad's story. Meaning learning not just about the biography, but learning about the lessons behind the events that took place and so forth. This is the second book that I used. And another one is the abridged biography of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's story by Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab at-Tamimi. And this is another excellent book that everyone should have in their library because it goes through a lot of things as well. Another one that is worth your while for sure, other than this one, which is a detailed one. This actually is a 3-volume set. It's a 3-volume set, and it is called The Noble Life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and it is authored by Dr. Ali Muhammad As-Sallabi. Another excellent book. This one is 3 volumes, and it goes through the biography of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, from beginning to end with a lot of details and lessons. So I use these 4 references myself in order to bring out the story to life and explain it to you today. Now, Ismail in his video, Why I Left Islam, is talking about morality, and is talking about how the Qur'an and Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, made him leave Islam. Well, I want to clarify something today. Hopefully he's watching this, or people can advise him. We are in the last days of Ramadan right now. Ramadan is almost over, the day of fast and the day of forgiveness, the day of mercy from God. So everyone has a chance. Those who wronged themselves have a chance to go back to God. This battle of Awtas that took place in that place called Awtas, which he mentioned when he referenced the hadith in his video in Sunan Abi Dawood. One thing I should mention is that before that battle took place, the Muslims conquered Mecca in the year 630 of the Common Era because the pagans of Mecca breached the peace treaty between them by attacking a tribe that was in an alliance with the Muslims. And the treaty was that you don't attack us or our allies on both sides. So the Meccans, the Quraysh, the tribe of Quraysh actually breached it. So this obviously ended the peace treaty, and Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and the Muslims conquered Mecca. There was barely any battle that took place. They went in. And one thing you have to understand here is that the Muslims, when they migrated from Mecca to Medina earlier, they went through 13 years of persecution. There was a loss of lives, a loss of wealth, and a lot of things happened to them. They even left their wealth behind in Mecca when they went to Medina. All kinds of things took place. Now these very same Muslims are more powerful. They came back and conquered Mecca. One would expect that they would take every opportunity to get revenge on all these people. You know, Brother Ismail, as he calls himself, talks about how the Muslims, rape all the women and everything like that. I mean, if they wanted to rape women, this would have been the perfect opportunity. Here they are coming back to Mecca, conquering it, and basically the Meccans were at their mercy. Look what happened. Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, the one that you have a morality problem with, called out the Quraysh, the tribe of Mecca. He said to them the following: O people of Quraysh, what do you think I will do with you? They responded to him by telling him, O noble brother, son of a noble brother, we expect nothing but good from you. This is coming from who? His enemies, arch enemies. saying to him, "We expect nothing but good from you." Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, responded to them and said, "Then I say to you what Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him, said to his people, as quoted in the Qur'an, 'There is no blame on you this day. Go, for you are free.'" He set them free. This is a chance for the Muslims to get revenge, to loot their homes, kill their men, and rape their women, according to the claim that Ismail said in his video. Why didn't they do it at that time if this was part of the Islamic teaching? After all, this is a war and they won the war. They could have taken all the spoils and everything. Why am I mentioning this conquest? Because the battle that took place in Awtas that you referenced, Ismail, and those who listened to your video, a man by the name of Malik Ibn Awf, chief of the Hawazin tribe, led a larger distance to fight the Muslims, because after the Meccans were conquered, some of the Arab tribes in Arabia refused to submit and surrender to the Muslims, even though the Muslims really proved themselves as being the most powerful tribe or the most powerful force in the Arabian Peninsula at the time. So this man, Malik Ibn Awf, gathered his tribe and other tribes. And listen to this. He went as far as telling his fighters to bring their women, pay attention, bring their women, properties, and children to the battle. Imagine, Malik Ibn Awf placed tens of thousands of camels in the rear of his army. He placed 10,000 camels in the rear of his army, and even ordered the women to ride the camels to make the army look even bigger than it really is. And then they camped at that valley of Awtas, which you were talking about in your video, Ismail. To keep it short, the battle ensued between the pagans and the Muslims defeated them. The pagans retreated. The Muslims took their camels, weapons, and cattle as war booty. And the Muslims then pursued those pagans, the Hawazin and others, to a city nearby called Ta'if. The pagans sought refuge in a fortress, and a siege lasted for about almost 20 days, between 10 to 20 days. That's what some of the historians say. The Muslims captured 23 of their men and set them free. The siege ended, and Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, camped with the army for 10 nights, waiting for the Hawazin and the others, hoping that they would come back repentant and retrieve the booty that they had lost. So this army of Hawazin, they brought everything. They brought camels, they brought many things. They brought all their properties, they brought their women, their children, and everything like that. And when they retreated from the battle, obviously all this stuff was left behind. So the Muslims took it all. But Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, waited for 10 nights, hoping they would come back and basically take back what they've done, so that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, can give them back their women and their properties and everything like that. Nobody came. So after the booty was distributed among the Muslims, a delegation came from the Hawazin tribe to accept Islam and seek the return of their people and wealth. By themselves they came back to accept Islam. No one forced them. The Muslims left them alone. Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, asked them a question. And this is the thing that I want you all to really pay attention to. He said to them, "What is dearer to you?" This is the same army that came to attack them. They left their women and children and everything behind, their properties, and they were at the mercy of the Muslims. So Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, told them, "What is dearer to you, your wealth or your women and children?" A rhetorical question. He obviously knew the answer. They replied by saying, "Nothing whatsoever compares to kinship," meaning that this is part of the honor. The women or children are a part of us. So what happened? You know, Ismail, in your video, you were saying something about that that what you quoted was a license for the Muslims to rape the women and take them as captives and so on. No. I gave you 4 books of the biography of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, good references, which in your 16 years being as a Muslim, you should have at least had one of those in your library, I think. No. After this, the Muslims gave the Hawazin back their women and children. They gave them back their women and children. All of them. Do you remember that gentleman, Malik Ibn Awf, that I talked about in the beginning? The one that actually organized this campaign against the Muslims to attack them and so forth? Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, sent a message to him, to Malik Ibn Awf. Sent him a message and said to him that if you embrace Islam, Malik Ibn Awf, we will return to you your family and wealth. Oh, not just that, we'll give you a gift of 100 camels. And not just that, when Malik Ibn Awf came back and embraced Islam, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, gave him back his family and wealth and everything like that. But then something else happened. Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, actually went as far as making Malik Ibn Awf a governor over his people and other tribes as well. This is the same man that came to try to, eliminate the Muslims, ganging up all the tribes, all the remaining Arab tribes in the Arab Peninsula to attack the Muslims. So what does the story tell us in the end? There has to be honest coverage of these events. And you don't just take, if we want to talk about the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, his biography, what he's done and everything like that. Yes, you can go to the Qur'an, that's fine. You can go to the Hadith, the actual narrations of his sayings and actions and his tacit approvals. But you also have to go to these books here. These books. You have to go to these books of what we call in Arabic seerah, which are the Prophet Muhammad's stories, his biography. He is the most well-documented human being on earth in all of history. People even know exactly how he looked like. We're not allowed to draw him or depict him, but if we were allowed, somebody listening to how he has been described can draw you him exactly how he has been described. So there's nothing to hide. And so I ask people, those who are honest, who really want the truth, to think deeply about all this. Go review the Prophet Muhammad's story, peace and blessings be upon him. Go for yourself and find out, were all these women raped? Were they taken as captives? No, they were given back to the tribe of Hawazin and others. And the one who came to organize this campaign against the Muslims was told that if you embrace Islam, you will be given back your wealth and your family. You'll be given 100 camels as a gift as well, a sign of goodwill, and assigned the governor over your people and other tribes in Arabia as well. I hope that we understand that it's important to go back and look at the entire story. And Ismail, my advice to you is review the biography of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. Go back and see how his own enemies, when he was in Mecca, entrusted him with their own properties, even though they were his enemies. They entrusted him with their own properties. And before he went to Medina to migrate, he made sure that he left his cousin Ali behind in order to return these properties to these people. One of his biggest enemies, Abu Sufyan, when he knew that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was going to marry his own daughter, Habiba is her name, he actually felt proud, even though Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, was his enemy. He felt proud that he was going to actually be marrying a member of his family, his own enemy. I'll leave you with this. Assalamu alaikum.